Hey there, thanks for coming. For a world that's more interconnected than ever before, there sure is a lot of loneliness. And I think a big reason for that is because of how fake a lot of people tend to be these days. Fake smiles, small talk, everyone's doing good. I know I've been guilty of this, and you probably have been too. But I think putting up walls and hiding behind pillars of politeness is a huge reason why almost a third of young adults today feel socially isolated. And that's just scratching the surface. So let's take a look at one of my favorite animes this season, which I think exemplifies this really well. Spy Family. Ready? Story time. Imagine living in a world where you can trust no one. Say the wrong thing to the wrong person and you may be taken into the secret police for questioning and disappear forever. You're always on edge, anticipating the next terrorist attack, praying that it won't be near where you live. Your next door neighbor might even be a spy. From the government or from a rival nation, it doesn't matter. That's what it's like living in Ostania, a country locked in the midst of a Cold War. In this world, one has all the reasons to cultivate a fake persona, to hide behind a socially approved mask in any and all your social interactions. And if you let your mask slip even once, you're done. I've said this before, but even though Spy Family is marketed as a comedy anime, it's got the bones of a dystopian horror. Our three main characters, the family in Spy Family, are hiding deadly secrets from one another. Our happy couple Lloyd and Yor are agents of opposing nations. Lloyd being the top spy in Westeros and Yor being a legendary Ostanian assassin. What happens when one eventually finds out about the other? See, being fake is the only way to survive in a society like this, and I think no one does it better than Yor Forger herself. On the surface, Yor is a caring, ditzy, and surprisingly athletic civil servant, but underneath, she's a cold-blooded killer with no sense of remorse and a broken moral compass. Her two personalities are polar opposites of one another. As a mother, she's kind, nurturing, and comically incompetent. As an assassin, she's ruthless, unfeeling, and scarily efficient. Her black dress ornamented with gold jewelry gives off an aura of elegance and grace, contrasting her actual clumsy persona when she's a regular citizen of Ostania. Ruthless killer versus nurturing mother. How does Yor manage to embody such opposing roles? And perhaps a better question, what does it cost her? Being fake is like putting on a mask. Being fake is like putting a mask on your face before turning around to address the world. It's the emotional equivalent of building thick, concrete walls between the real you and the people you interact with. Most times, the person doing the faking does it to appear socially acceptable and fit in with others. And in most cases, the others are doing the same. What we end up with is a bunch of people with layers and layers of protective walls, separating their true selves. And we wonder why we feel so distant from everyone else? And it's only when the acquaintances become friends is when one feels confident enough to face the other without the mask. And that's when true bonds are made. It seems like almost a necessary evil to many, that it's not that big of a deal because, everyone does it. But I'm convinced that repressing who you are and presenting a facade to other people in order to fit in isn't good for you. But it's a little more complex than that. For example, what Yor is doing isn't exactly faking. These two sides of Yor, the assassin and the mom, I would argue are different sub-personalities within her person. She isn't actively putting on an act when she takes care of Anya. Her nurturing instincts are genuine. She's just not particularly good at them yet. Contrast that to someone like Ellen DeGeneres, for example. If you haven't heard the tea, Ellen, the famous talk show host, is notorious for being a kind angel on camera and the meanest sociopath you'll ever meet off camera. In other words, she's the level 99 final boss of faking a personality. According to reports, she was allegedly incredibly toxic to her employees, treating them like trash, not even allowing them to talk to her or be in the same room as her. She's been reported to be cold, distant, and indifferent by guests on her show, on some occasions not even greeting them before they went live. And worst of all, she's rude to waitstaff. Like, not normal entitled rude, next level rude. She once tried to get a waitress fired for having a chipped nail. This is probably a pretty extreme example of a person faking it to be liked by other people, but it's a good one. Sure, Ellen has all the money in the world, and she probably even has a few friends, but she's turned so bitter and so resentful over the years, even going so far as to say that she hates every single viewer of her show. I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I'd say that she's not too fulfilled in her life. I mean, just look at these eyes. Do they look happy to you? And that's what being fake does to people. It opens up a void within you. It makes you feel icky, and it can even destroy your sense of self-worth. You know what I'm talking about. Think back to a time where you forced yourself to be smiley and friendly and sociable just to look good to other people. Maybe it was when you met someone you look up to, or maybe it was when you were talking to your crush for the first time. Did you feel something inside you that just didn't feel right? Like a gnawing feeling in the back of your head saying, this isn't you. And did you feel completely drained and almost a little bit guilty afterwards? If you did, then guess what? You were faking it, and you experienced the immediate internal backlash. But if you felt completely fine and even a little happy afterwards, then congrats. You're doing something different. You're doing what Yor is doing. What I'm going to tell you in the rest of this video is for the people who felt the dissonance of forcing themselves to be someone they're not just to please society. Sure, faking it makes us feel bad and takes a lot out of us, but want to know when it gets really bad? It's when we fake our personality to impress people and it actually works. Because in a sense, we weren't the same people who did all of that. It was our fake personas who got the girl or made everyone laugh. We're essentially reinforcing in our minds, telling ourselves that our regular, normal selves aren't good enough, that we have to become someone we're not in order to be accepted by other people. And that's the possible starting point of a downward spiral into depression and low self-esteem. At this point, you're probably thinking, why is this guy taking this faking stuff so seriously? I mean, everybody does it, right? It can't be that bad. Or maybe you've lived the experiences I just described, and you're now thinking, damn, yeah, being fake does feel kind of bad. How do I fix that? Well, I've faked my personality plenty of times in the past, and in the end, I was able to overcome this feeling of being fake through months, if not years, of trial and error. So let me tell you what worked for me and hopefully save you some time. In, I think, my second year of uni, I got invited to a house party by one of my only friends at the time. This was after being completely socially isolated in my first year. And I'm not talking about like, oh I only went out twice with my friends this week. I'm talking like zero social contact for days at a time, staying shut in my room, my 200 square foot shoebox, playing video games and watching anime. Only getting out to eat lunch and dinner in the canteen where I'd sit alone in the corner while everyone had their massive friend groups. So I was pretty hyped. It'd been 6 months since I decided to start working on my social skills and putting myself out there and trying to get out of my shell. So I saw this as the perfect opportunity to gauge how far I had come from my first year. And so when the night of the party finally came, I was the ultimate social butterfly, the life of the party. Everyone wanted to be around me, and that was really cool and all, for about 5 hours until the party ended. So when I left the party and all the feelings of validation had died down, I felt a sense of extreme emptiness inside me, like a black hole had just opened up in my stomach. I thought to myself, damn, who was I back there? Was this really me? Did those people like me for me, or because I was entertaining like a dancing monkey? One of my actual friends at the party saw this and he said to me, dude, that was so fake, and that hurt. So yeah, being the fake dancing monkey of the party got the new people I had never met to like me at the time, but it didn't help my social situation much because I never spoke to them again. And it wasn't until a couple years later that I discovered what I did wrong back there. Let me explain it real quick. This circle represents your personality, what you're comfortable doing, how sociable you are. Everything about you is encapsulated in this circle. Everything outside this circle represents the aspects of your personality you haven't developed yet. When you push yourself to be fake, what you're doing is trying to act out something way over here. What that results in is your brain thinking, hey man, what the hell are you doing? That's not us. And that subconscious realization is what makes us feel fake. When I eventually did become authentically sociable, what I did was not jump all the way over there. I slowly pushed outwards from my comfort zone, trying out new things socially I wasn't comfortable with before. I started going out alone, talking to random people, learning to give compliments, step by step, eventually reaching the social state where I wanted to be. Doing this slow push instead of jumping right into the deep end gets rid of the feeling of being fake. And I think that's also exactly what Yor is doing in Spy Family. Her homemaking skills are pretty bad, let's face it, but she's constantly pushing outwards from her comfort zone, learning to cook, learning to nurture, failing most times, but succeeding in others. And those small wins help her get closer to becoming the person she eventually wants to be. And that's what we should all strive towards if you want to stop feeling like an imposter around other people. Don't do too much too soon. Don't jump straight into the deep end if you can't handle it. Take your time to assimilate new skills and make sure there's no dissonance within you in your journey. Your mental health will thank you for it. If you got this far into the video, could you do me a favor and hit that subscribe button if you found any value in this video at all? I'm Sorex and this channel is all about helping misdirected young men improve themselves through the power of story. Sometimes anime stories, sometimes my own. And if you like this video, then I got another one in the Spy Family series waiting for you right here. It's all about how to become elegant like Henry Henderson. So click on that and I'll see you there.